Happy 2K Day. Welcome in all you newcomers. I know you're excited to get into NBA 2K25, but you'll want to head to your settings and make sure everything is set up properly for you to have the best experience. This year we have some new settings and I'm going to break them down for you. So first things first, at the main menu, you want to head all the way over to the features setting and you want to go down to customize HUD. So we can work our way on from the bottom to the top. You can head on down to shot feedback and you want to make sure your visibility is set to all shots. This will allow you to see what type of contest you get and what your timing is, as you can see with it popping up on the screen. Next thing you want to do, you want to head back on up to the top and go to perfect release animation and SFX. Right here, you also want to make sure that your visibility is set to all shots as well. In the other settings, the graphic, placement, and sound effect are completely up to you. And the last setting in this section, you want to go to shot meter shots. For this, you want to make sure that your visibility for shots is turned to off. This will turn off your shot meter, which will give you an additional 20% boost. But if you're somebody who needs to learn with the shot meter for a little bit, that's okay too. Just make sure you come back here and turn this off sooner rather than later. Visibility for layups, I do have this on right now, but I do plan on turning this off. And then visibility for free throws, you also want to make sure you have this off. Same thing goes for these other settings at the bottom, all personal preference, but I do recommend setting the size to large so that way it's a lot easier to see when you're using your dunk meter. So after you get done with that, you want to head back up top and go to the settings. Now, there aren't really many things to change here, but there are a couple of settings I do recommend that you change. You want to scroll on down to motion blur and you want to turn this all the way down to 0. And then the last setting, crossplay, that's really up to you. If you want to play with the opposite console, if you PlayStation, you want to play with the Xbox folks, or if you want to stay native to whatever console it is you play on, then you could turn this off, but that is all up to you. And last but not least, you want to go over to controller settings. Now, this is where a lot of important settings are. Vibration function and trigger effect, those are really personal preference. I know some people don't like having these settings on when they play competitive games, so completely up to you. If you don't like them, you can turn both of these off, but if they don't bother you, then you can leave them on. Now, shot time and profile, this is a new setting that we have this year. This will control how easy and how difficult it is for you to make shots when you are timing your jump shot. So I have it set to high risk reward. If you're somebody who is good at shooting in 2K, high risk reward is green or miss. So if you are good at shooting the ball, this is going to be the best setting for you because it's going to give you the largest green window. Difficulty base and real player percentage don't apply to the online game mode. So, you know, if you're playing offline, difficulty base will change the difficulty based on what game mode you're playing. Real player percentage, kind of self-explanatory. You'll kind of make jump shots based off of the percentage of the player. And then so neither one of these apply online. So really you're just looking at low risk reward, normal, and high if you're playing in the city/park. Low risk reward will be a lot more forgiving. So, you know, you can mistime your jump shot and still make some shots. You're not going to make every single shot, but it will be more forgiving in that aspect. Normal risk reward is pretty much the same thing as low risk, but it'll be a little less rewarding. So, you know, you'll make a few shots like that here and there. High risk reward is going to be the best one you want to go with because it's going to give you a lot more control over whether or not you make or miss your shot. Same thing goes with the layup timing profile. The free throw timing, you want to leave this on user timing. Shot timing visual cue, we had this setting last year. I run mine on push because to me that's the easiest to time your jump shot. With the visual cue, you pretty much let go of the button when the shot gets all the way to the top of the forehead and it's green all day. So that's the one I like to run with. I've never used jump. I did test out set point and release, but push was the best one for me, so I definitely recommend that you test that one out. Shot meter input type, I have this set to all. Pro stick function, I leave it on default. You can set it to dribble moves if you only want to use your pro stick for dribble moves, or if you want to just use it for shots only, you could do that, but default allows you to use it for both. Pro stick orientation, I have it set to absolute, so that way when I'm dribbling, it's not changing which way I have to move the pro stick based off of the camera. If you have it set to camera relative, it's going to do that. Off ball offense mode, same thing, I leave it on absolute. Double team reaction, I leave it on manual, so you will have to trigger when you want to help out with a double team instead of having that set to auto. You don't want to get dragged into anything. Help defense button function, I have this set to double team. Call for pick and roll versus fade, leave that on manual. Player icons on. Skip pass, I have this set to enable. Icon lead passing is on. The Pro Stick pass type is set to normal. If you change it to flashy, then you can use the right stick to do flashy passes. That's a personal preference thing. If you want to do that, you can. Icon passing is set to default. This is more so for my career, when you're just playing like regular my career games or play now. You can change it to full receiver control to give you more control over what the player does. And then, you know, similar with the pass type control option, it just gives you more control over the pass. I leave it on default. Receiver control, I have set to receiver get open. You know, again, this is another one of those offline settings. So, you know, if you want to come in and experiment with these and see if you like them, you definitely can. Hold lob pass button is set to skip pass. Passive dribble hand switches. Now, I highly recommend leaving this on disabled, because what it'll do is, if you're just standing there dribbling the ball and you have this enabled, it will sit there and switch between each one of your hands. And, you know, that could throw you off if you're trying to do certain dribble moves. So I would just turn this on disabled and leave it there, so that way you'll just stand there and dribble the ball with one hand, and that'll give you the most control. It's not sitting there switching hands for you. Now, Pro Stick defense is set to camera relative, because, you know, it makes a lot of sense for defense for this to be set to camera relative. That's going to be the easiest for you. Shading indicator is on. Who to guard, that's another personal preference. If you want it to tell you who to guard, you can. If you pretty much run with the same guys and y'all always communicate on who to guard when you're playing online, then you can leave this off if you don't want that on. Box out assist strength, this is also a personal preference right here. You know, what it'll do is it'll assist you with getting box out. So like, it'll seem like your player kind of gets dragged into box outs a little bit more and sticks to players a lot easier. If you don't want it just pulling you into players, then you can turn this down. For me, I'm probably going to run a big as my first build, so I turned it down so I can have control over who I'm boxing out. But, you know, it might be better for you if you're a smaller guard, then you could turn this all the way up, so that way you're just putting a body on somebody in order to box out and help get the rebound. Now, pass target profile is set to custom because I turned my pass target openness up. Basically, it'll just throw the ball to whoever is the most open. But most times I'm icon passing anyway. So I hope this video was helpful for you with your start on NBA 2K25. If you got any questions or anything, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. If you still haven't made your build yet, or you're undecided, check out this video on how not to mess up your build. I got some great tips in there on how to make the best build. You'll definitely want to check that out. And if you're still looking around at different builds, trying to get an idea of what you should make, I just made a 7-foot Victor Wembanyama build, and man, it's got some damn good badges. You'll want to check this video out too.